Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam of Srila Vedavyas with translation of verses by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Yesterday one of the questions proffered was about gaining inspiration in Krishna consciousness. It's a commonly asked question. One answer is open Prabhupada's books and read them, and automatically inspiration will be there. In the last few days we've been recommending that devotees take sets of Srimad Bhagavatam to their homes. This morning I'm planning to read some verses from the first canto of Bhagavatam. We can chant the verses together and then read the translations. And we will find that, as Bhagavatam itself states, there's no literature like Srimad Bhagavatam. Even this, the first verse itself has more knowledge than, I was saying that Bhagavatam has more knowledge than all the universities in the world put together, but the first verse alone has more knowledge than all the universities in the world put together. Not only does the first verse of Bhagavatam have more knowledge than all the universities of the world put together, it also has more knowledge of God and of religious understanding than all the books of the Christians, Jews, Muslims, Buddhists, Parsis, Sikhs, Jains, Rastafarians, and whoever else might consider themselves religious, put together. Okay, well, how are we going to do this? We got it? Okay, alright, very good. So verse 1 of Srimad Bhagavatam, those of you who prefer to read in Tamil, you better get next to a Tamil Bhagavatam, because only the first verse is going to come up, and then we're going to read more verses also. I'd asked that those who had purchased the books could bring them. It doesn't seem that many did so. Anyway, we'll press on. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Janmadyasya yatonvayaditarataschaartheshvabhignya swarat. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye Muhyanti Yat Surayaha. Tejo Vari Mridang Yatha Vinamayo Yatra Trisargo Mersha. Dhamna svena sada nirasta kuhakang satyang parang dhimahi. O my Lord Sri Krishna, son of Vasudeva, O all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I meditate upon Lord Sri Krishna because he is the absolute truth and the primeval cause of all causes of the creation, sustenance and destruction of the manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations, and he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being. By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion, as one is bewildered by the illusory representations of water seen in fire or land seen on water. Only because of him do the material universes temporarily manifested by the reactions of the three modes of nature appear factual, although they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Sri Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from the illusory representations of the material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth. So you all understood that? Yeah? Okay, then we'll go on to verse 2. You're now all God-realized. It helps to read the purport. Srila Prabhupada gave quite a short purport, considering the import, yeah. Only 7.5 pages. But of course the rest of no, I wasn't joking when I said that. I mean, you could have 18 volumes just on that verse. But actually the whole of the rest of the Bhagavatam is an elaboration of the first verse. But immediately from the first verse of the Bhagavatam, we are struck with the depth of the subject matter, its gravity, gambhiratva, its complexity, and its clarity. Now, how can it be both complex and clear? Well, the subject matter of Krishna is, or actually the subject matter is Bhagavan, not Krishna. Or even more precisely, the subject matter is Param Satya, which Srila Prabhupada discusses in the first paragraph of, is it the introduction or the preface? I'm just looking to see. Yeah, of the introduction. The subject matter is the absolute truth, and the absolute truth is Bhagavan. Actually, the ultimate realization of the absolute truth is Bhagavan. And Sabhagavan Swayam Krishna. Krishna is Bhagavan. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam is called Srimad Bhagavatam. And that's why I have suggested to Sri Giridhari Prabhu to change the name of the Tamil magazine that he's bringing out from Sri Krishna Darshanam to Bhagavat Darshanam, which is the title Srila Prabhupada gave for the magazines in Hindi, Bengali and Gujarati. And so Sri Giridhari Prabhu's contention was that Tamil people don't know what this Bhagavat or Bhagavat Darshan means. To which I replied that the average Bengali, Gujarati or Hindi speaker also doesn't know. But the subject matter is Bhagavan and the Bhagavat. We worship Krishna, at least at our stage, we worship Krishna because he's Bhagavan. Otherwise, if you have the name Krishna Darshanam, it may seem just like, well, someone worships Krishna, someone worships Ganesh, someone worships Sai Baba, as you like. But the term Bhagavat Darshanam is a philosophical, scientific delineation. Anyway, we should read the purports. That's the purport. Because the depth, the gravity, the complexity, the clarity are all brought out of each verse is brought out in Srila Prabhupada's purports. Verse 2, if you prefer to read in Tamil, you better get close to a Tamil book. Dharma projhita kaitavotra paramo nirmatsaranam satam Vedyam vastavamatra vastu shivadam tapatrayon mulanam. Show the Sanskrit fonts also. Someone might prefer to read in that. Also, not, yeah. Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite King Vaparair Ishvara Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite King Vaparair Ishvara Sadyo Hridya Varodhyate Trakritibi Susrushibhis Tatkshanat. Completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated, this Bhagavat Purana propounds the highest truth. which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. The highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam, compiled by the great sage Vyasa in his maturity, is sufficient in itself for God realization. What is the need for any other scripture? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge the Supreme Lord is established within his heart. Verse 3. Nigama kalpa toror galitang palam Shukamukhadamrita drava sangyutam Pibata bhagavatam rasamalayam Muhuraho rasika bhuvi bhavukaha. Oh, I have to read out the translation. O expert and thoughtful men, relish Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of the desired tree of Vedic literatures. It emanated from the lips of Sri Shukadeva Goswami. Therefore this fruit has become even more tasteful, although its nectarian juice was already relishable for all, including liberated souls. I gave a series of lectures on these 3 verses. About 15 lectures, which I think are available on my website. Mostly in Croatia they were given. Yeah. 10, verse 10. Verse 10, I'm just going to recite some of the better known verses. Prayanal payasa sabhya Kalavasmin yuge janaha Manda sumanda matayo Manda bhagya hi upadrutaha. O learned one, in this iron age of Kali, men have but short lives. They are quarrelsome, lazy, misguided, unlucky, and above all, always disturbed. Verse 14. You can just scroll down a bit quicker. From 10 to 14 is a short jump. Apana sangsriting ghaurang Yannama vivashogranam Tata sadyo vimuchyeta Yad bibheti swayang bhayam. Living beings who are entangled in the complicated meshes of birth and death can be freed immediately by even unconsciously chanting the holy name of Krishna, which is feared by fear personified. No, sorry, not 18, 19. You could just scroll down, it would be much quicker. Fiddling around. Vayang tuna vitripyama Uttama shloka vikrame Yachchanvatang rasagyanam Svadu svadu pade pade. We never tire of hearing the transcendental pastimes of the personality of Godhead, who is glorified by hymns and prayers. Those who have developed a taste for transcendental relationships with him relish hearing of his pastimes at every moment. Kritavan kila karamani Saha Ramena Keshava Atimartyani Bhagavan Gurha Kapatamanushaha. Lord Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, along with Balaram, played like a human being, and so masked, he performed many superhuman acts. Yeah, on to 22. Twang na sandarshito dhatra Dustarang nistitir shatam Kaling sattva harang pungsam Karnadhara ivarnavam. We think that we have met your goodness by the will of providence, just so that we may accept you as captain of the ship for those who desire to cross the difficult ocean of Kali, which deteriorates all the good qualities of a human being. Now on to the second chapter, in which there are several verses which are key statements about Bhagavat Tattva Vijnanam, the scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead. That's it. Well, if you have a book, good for you. If not, I think we'll go on to better known verses then. No, okay. Okay, so we'll leave out that verse. Okay, we'll go on to a well-known verse. Verse number 4 of chapter 2. Narayanam namaskritya Narang chaiva narotamam Deving sarasvating vyasam Tato jayamudirayet. Before reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayana, unto Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasa Deva, the author. Text 5. Munaya sadhu prashtoham Bhavadbhya loka mangalam Yat krita Krishna samprashno Yenatma suprasidati. O sages, I have been justly questioned by you. Your questions are worthy because they relate to Lord Krishna, and so are of relevance to the world's welfare. Only questions of this sort are capable of completely satisfying the self. So beginning from text 6 of this second chapter of the first canto is one of several verses which define Krishna consciousness and should be learned by devotees, especially those who are preachers of Krishna consciousness. Text 6. You can see the importance of this verse. It describes what is Paradharma, the supreme dharma. This is a non-sectarian, completely scientific statement. Savai pungsang parodharmo yato bhaktir adhokshaje ahaitukya pratihata yayatma suprasidati. The supreme occupation, dharma, for all humanity is that by which men can attain to loving devotional service under the Transcendent Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self. Text 7. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha Janayatyashu Vairagyam Jnanam Chayadahaitukam. By rendering devotional service unto the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, one immediately acquires causeless knowledge and detachment from the world. Dharma svanushtita pungsang Vishvakshena katasuyaha Notpadayed yadirating Shrama eva hi kevalam. The occupational activities a man performs according to his own position are only so much useless labor if they do not provoke attraction for the message of the personality of Godhead. Dharmasya hyarpavargyasya Nartorthayo pakalpate Narthasya dharmaikantasya Kamo labhaya hi smitaha. All occupational engagements are certainly meant for ultimate liberation. They should never be performed for material gain. Furthermore, according to sages, one who is engaged in the ultimate occupational service should never use material gain to cultivate sense gratification. Kamasya nendriya pritir labho jiveta yavata Jivasya tattva jignasa Narato yasceha karma bhihi. Life's desires should never be directed towards sense gratification. One should desire only a healthy life or self-preservation. Since a human being is meant for inquiry about the absolute truth, nothing else should be the goal of one's works. Vadanti tat tattva vidas tattvang yajñānamadvayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shabhyate. Learned transcendentalists who know the absolute truth call this non-dual substance Brahman, Paramatma, or Bhagavan. Next verse. Tachchradadhana munayo Jnana vairagya yuktaya Pashyantyatmani chatmanam Bhaktya shrutagrahitaya. The seriously inquisitive student or sage, well equipped with knowledge and detachment, realizes that absolute truth by rendering devotional service in terms of what he has heard from the Vedanta Shruti. Text 13. Atah pumbhid vijasreshtha varnashrama vibhagashaha swanushthitasya dharmasya sangsiddhir haritoshanam. O best among the twice-born, it is therefore concluded that the highest perfection one can achieve by discharging the duties prescribed for one's own occupation, according to caste divisions and orders of life, is to please the personality of Godhead. Tasmadekena manasa Bhagavan Sattvatang Patihi Shrotavyah Kirtitavyascha Dhyeya Pujascha Nityada. Therefore, with one pointed attention, one should constantly hear about, glorify, remember and worship the personality of Godhead, who is the protector of the devotees. Yad anudhyasina yukta karma granthi nibandhanam chindanti ko vidastasya ko na kuryat kataratim. With sword in hand, intelligent men cut through the binding knots of reactionary work, karma, by remembering the personality of Godhead. Therefore, who will not pay attention to his message? Susrusho shradadhanasya Vasudeva kataruchihi Syan mahatsevaya vipra Punyatirtha nishevanat. O twice-born sages, by serving those devotees who are completely freed from all vice, great service is done. By such service one gains affinity for hearing the messages of Vasudeva. Shrinvatang swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Hridyanta stohya bhadrani Vidhunoti suhrit satam. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, super soul in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Nashta prayeshva bhadreshu Nityang Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Tada rajastamo bhava kamalo bhadayaschaye Cheta etairana vidham Stitang sattve prasidati. As soon as irrevocable loving service is established in the heart, the effects of nature's modes of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire and hankering, disappear from the heart. Then the devotee is established in goodness and he becomes completely happy. So you can be completely happy by Bhagavatam, hearing and reading. But there's more to be said about this still. Evam prasanna manaso Bhagavad Bhakti Yogataha Bhagavad Tattva Vijnanam Mukta Sangasya Jayate. Thus established in the mode of unalloyed goodness, the man whose mind has been enlivened by contact with devotional service to the Lord gains positive scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead in the stage of liberation from all material association. So not only complete happiness, but also positive scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead and liberation from material association. Positive scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead. Bhagavat Tattva Vijnanam. There's more yet to be had, more benefits of God. Bhidyate hridaya grantish Chidyante sarva sangshayaha Kshiyante chasya karmani Drishta evatmanishvare. Thus the knot in the heart is pierced and all misgivings are cut to pieces. The chain of fruitive actions is terminated when one sees the self as master. Ato vai kavayo nityam bhakting paramaya muda vasudeve bhagavati kuravantyatma prasadanim. Certainly, therefore, since time immemorial, all transcendentalists have been rendering devotional service to Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead, with great delight, because such devotional service is enlivening to the self. So there you are. You're asking about how to get inspired. There's the answer. Okay, let's fast forward to chapter 3, text 28. Chapter 3, text 28, a very well-known verse. Almost there. Okay, you got it. Ete chang shakala pungsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari vyakulang lokang Mridayanti yuge yuge. All of the above mentioned incarnations are either plenary portions or portions of the plenary portions of the Lord, but Lord Sri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. All of them appear on planets whenever there is a disturbance created by the atheists. The Lord incarnates to protect the theists. So we go forward to this chapter, text 38. It's not a very well-known verse, but it has an important purport and it's very beautiful. Saveda dhatu padaving parasya Duranta viryasya rathanga panehe Yo mayaya santatayanu Bhajeta tatpada saroja gandham. Only those who render unreserved, uninterrupted, favorable service unto the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, who carries the wheel of the chariot in his hand, can know the Creator of the universe in his full glory, power, and transcendence. Forward to verse 40. Idang Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samitam Uttama Sloka Charitam Chakara Bhagavan Rishihi Nishrayasaya Lokasya Dhanyang Svastyayanang Mahat. This Srimad Bhagavatam is the literary incarnation of God, and it is compiled by Srila Vyasadeva, the incarnation of God. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people, and it is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. At the end of the purport to this verse, Srila Prabhupada writes, one can derive from the study of the Bhagavatam all benefits that are possible to be derived from the personal presence of the Lord. It carries with it all the transcendental blessings of Lord Sri Krishna that we can expect from his personal contact. So these two sentences are practically identical in their meaning. Srila Prabhupada is stressing that Bhagavatam is none different from Krishna. By studying Bhagavatam, in the sentence previous to this, Prabhupada stresses on hearing Bhagavatam from a devotee Bhagavat. So by doing so, one can have the same value, you can get the same benefit as if we are personally instructed by Krishna, because Bhagavatam is Krishna. So that's just the beginning of Bhagavatam. There are 18,000 verses, and it's all blissful. And if you don't have a set in your house, you should get one immediately. I'm a salesman, I've praised the product, I've shown it to you, and now I'm making the pitch, telling you why you should buy it. The salesman's job is to convince the potential buyer that the buyer will be better off with less money in his pocket and the product in his hand. So I hope I've done my job well. I don't have to. You just read from the Bhagavatam, and anyone who is slightly raised from the platform of being a stone or an ass can appreciate this. So you're all enlightened persons to even be here, and your enlightenment will increase day by day and moment by moment by regular study of the Bhagavatam. So we have many sets here in English and Tamil. We don't want to have many sets. We want rather that everyone should have at least one set in their home. We are always dissatisfied devotees, because we always fill up the book room with sets, and we're dissatisfied until they've gone. And as soon as they're gone, we fill it up again. But we get great satisfaction from seeing people take these. Of course, we distribute books one by one, Bhagavad Gita, Life Comes from Life, The Science of Self-Realization, and so on. But selling sets of Bhagavatam it's in a different league. It suggests that people, they have some appreciation of Srila Prabhupada's books and a sincere desire to fully understand the very purpose for which Srila Prabhupada came to this world, the very purpose for which Sri Krishna came to this world. So anyway, if you don't have a set of Bhagavatam yet in your home, please take a set. We have plenty of sets here. We have installment schemes for those of you who are not ready to pay all at once. Of course, many of you, even before you came here, had sets of Bhagavatam at home. But how many have gone out so far at this camp? 15 have gone out. And devotees have come newly since then. So if you still don't have a set, you should not be the odd man out. You should... Every initiated devotee or one who is aspiring to be initiated at some point should have a set of Bhagavatam in their home. So, anyone else like to take a set of Bhagavatams? Yes, all right. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Anyone else here who doesn't have a set of Bhagavatam at home and is trying to pretend they do? Trying to hope they're not found out? We can have you act as the king in the next drama. The Mutal. Okay, that's it. All right, I'm giving a task to all of you that you have to see between you that no one leaves this camp, I didn't finish yet the sentence, without a set of Bhagavatam, unless they already have one at home. Unless they already have one at home. Sounds very threatening, doesn't it? You will be happy by reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Your life will improve in unlimited ways which we cannot even imagine until we start to enter the ocean of Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna. We'll finish there. All glories to His Divine